Hello, ABL and fans of the ABL. I am Alan of the Armchair Update channel. We're going to do some week 7, scoring week 7 of the ABL. Real quick, I do want to say that despite the fact that I've cracked a couple of jokes about it on the Discord, obviously I hope, both Adam and Josh, I hope you guys, it doesn't sound like either of you are feeling all that great, but I do, of course, hope that you get through the COVID stuff that you guys are dealing with. I mean, especially Adam. I know you've said many times that COVID is a particular. It's been a thing, a worry and a fear with you and your kids and everything for quite some time now, and to now actually be smacked down with it a little bit. I It's gotta suck. I genuinely am sorry. I hope that you get better and get through it and don't get the long COVID bullshit. I hope there's no lingering, both of you guys, but just specifically, I know Adam has expressed his hatred for having to fear this fucking virus for so long, and it sounds like some of his fear is coming to fruition. He's got it, and but I think the fact that you guys are at least able to tell us how much it kind of sucks is probably better than the alternative. But I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I think you guys are going to be okay. I hope you guys are going to be okay. But I think it's probably better than not that you're at least able to tell us how much it sucks. But that's I kind of I don't know. I think both Adam and Josh know, I think everybody knows that I don't mean anything personal by making. I'm not making fun of their COVID. I mean, I guess I am, but I don't mean it in a disparaging, haha, you have COVID or whatever. As somebody that just got over a pretty crappy medical issue, and I ended the last podcast with saying, "Oh, I hope everybody can get the spontaneous joy of going to the doctor and not having something terrible happen to you." And then like both of these guys land in the hospital like within a week of me saying that. I feel kind of crappy about it, but when I feel crappy and uncomfortable about things, I make jokes. That's kind of the way I deal with stuff sometimes. But I think you guys know that I don't mean anything bad by it. Let's get into week. Let's get in week 7. Let's talk some ABL. These guys are ready to hear, and actually, I was going to say you guys are ready to hear about their good teams. They do have good teams, both the Giants and the Phillies. But I think the theme of this week, of week 7, if the theme isn't how good the Rangers were, which the Rangers were very, very good. I mean, I think that's the theme of the week is how good the Rangers were. But if it's not that, it's kind of how bad of a week a lot of a good handful of the really top teams had. And when I say that, I do mean specifically the Giants, the Phils, the Yankees, and the Pirates went a combined 1-10 on the week. Now you'd really have to go back. We need like the Elias, Sports Bureau or whatever to go back and really comb through every week. But I think you'd be definitely this year. It hasn't happened. Maybe last year when before Josh took over the Giants and before. And I guess the Giants were still kind of bad most, but to have all of those teams go a combined 1-10, I don't think you're going to see too many weeks where that has happened. This may be the first one. I'm not like picking on those guys. It's just when I'm going through the standings and looking at these teams that are at the bottom, for the specific week, it was a bit of a shock to see. And I guess we'll just start at the top like usual. Look at the Texas Rangers. We're gonna talk about them quite a bit for scoring week 7. But the Rangers, the Twins, the Mariners, the Cardinals, the Clevelands, and the Baltimores all go 3-0. So 6 teams going 3-0. The Dodgers and the D-backs both go 2-0. The D-backs win. I believe we saw that it came from the Blue Jays going over the starts limit. So the D-backs were going to be 1-1. Not technically, I guess, but they go 2-0. So good week for the D-backs. Like I said, Jake has now been on the the good side and the bad side of the starts limit. The D-backs themselves have gone over the limit and now been the beneficiary of a win for an opponent going over the limit. The Brewers are your only 3-1 team, and then there are several 2-1 teams: the Cubs, the A's, the Royals, the Reds, and the New York Mets. The New York Mets are off the schneid. They were the last winless team. They are no longer winless, and in fact, Dwight snakes 2 wins. Like really, he really nabbed them. And we will see in a minute that the Mets wins came at like a combined, 6 and 6.4, 6.5 points, something like that. He really, really pulled a fast one on both Cal and Tony. So disappointing for those guys too. I guess at least you guys can like walk hand in hand that you weren't the one team, that had to fall to the last winless team. You both got to do it. So you both jumped off that cliff together, and in pretty crappy fashion. He got the slim win on both of you guys. So pretty rough. Pretty great for Dwight. Pretty rough for Tony and Cal. Tampa Bay goes 1-1. You're only 500 team on the week. And then Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Toronto, Boston, San Diego, and the Astros all go 1-2. And your winless teams, some I mentioned: the White Sox, the Phillies, the Marlins, the Rockies, of course, the Giants. Well, those are the 0-3 teams, and then your 0-2 teams are the Giants, the Tigers, the Nats, and the Angels. I think since the last pod, we have had the Tigers declare that John does not think this is going to be his year. He is selling off assets. I don't recall his wording on if it's going to be like a total tear down and rebuild. I really can't recall. I kind of can't imagine it is, because the Tigers are still a pretty good team, but he is selling off assets. The Padres took at least one tough loss. The Pods can't seem to catch a decent scheduling break, really. They do. When I went back and looked, and we're going to see them show up again on the bad loss list for the 4th time, fewer than 5 points. Those are some tough losses for the Pods. I think. Well, I don't want to speak for them. I'm not going to say anything about the Padres. Let us go to this stuff. Your smallest margin of the week was the Mets over the Marlins, 2.833 points. And this, I will say, this is with the Mets missing a pretty good Liberatore start. I did mention that in the Discord, but I just kind of want to twist the knife into Tony and Cal just a little bit more, just to be a jerk. Boston over San Diego by 3 points. So San Diego, like I was just saying, shows up again with another loss of 5 or fewer points. That is the 4th time they have shown up on fourth time. 4th time they've shown up on the list by fewer than 5 points. Number 3, the Mets again over the Angels, 3.5 points. So Dwight, gets the 2 wins and gets them in close style. And then number 4 was a tie, Toronto over Arizona, but now we know that actually did not happen. So standing alone is Milwaukee over Pittsburgh by 10.333 points. So the Toronto over Arizona I mentioned earlier, Gary went over the starts limit, gets his pitching points taken away for that day, and in doing so succumbs to Arizona. I don't know what the actual final score was. Maybe I could have looked at that, and maybe that would be a top 5, but I didn't. And so, that technically doesn't exist. And then number 5 was Houston over the White Sox, 15.167 points. So we had some close ones this week, but like a couple weeks past, we've had them where they were all like under 10 points. We had a couple that were over this week. That's a big deal. On to the point per game, week 7 look at the Texas Rangers. 5.27 points in 79 games. I just like spit all over my monitor in excitement. That's the kind of week that the Rangers had. And he's still looking to make moves. He's still not satisfied. That's classic Sam, really. 5.27 points in 79 games. I think that is the high on the year for a regular scoring week. Number 2, Kansas City, 4.92 points in 63 games. Number 3, Minnesota at 4.87 in 83 games. That's a nice number. And Seattle at number 4, 4.74 points in 77 games. And St. Louis rounding out the top five, 4.53 points in 80 games. St. Louis always there in the high 70s, low 80s for games played, and he's like 19-1. So give you some indication. Like I kept hammering last year, you want those games played. You want guys in spots every single day. These teams are proving that. Again, not that it needed proving. Hitting in week 7. I think this is the first week where the top 5 teams were all over 200 hitting points, and there was even another one of the 6. I think it was at 200 exactly. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Pittsburgh. I don't remember. But number 1, Minnesota, 243. What a hitting week it was, week 7 here. 243 for Minnesota. Number 2, St. Louis, 238 hitting points, which usually would be good for number 1 on a given week. Number 3, Chicago, 219 hitting points. The Dodgers in at number 4, 209. And then Seattle rounding out the top 5. Usually you think of Seattle as a pitching team. They're in both the hitting and the pitching this week. 203 hitting points to round out the top 5 for Seattle. You're pitching in week 7. So Texas obviously had a good hitting week, just not a top 5 hitting week, but dominated the pitching. 234.333 pitching points, a significant gap over the number 2 team, which is Cleveland. Not used to seeing the Clevelands in the top 3 of these things, and especially not in pitching. But Mark racks up 181 pitching points, good for number 2, but still a significant gulf there between Texas and Cleveland. Man, what a week the Rangers had. Number 3, Seattle, 161.833 pitching points. So that's a good example of how you go 3-0, be top 5 in hitting and top 3, top 5 in pitching, and that's what Seattle does, goes 3-0. So do the Twins. Minnesota showing up at number 4 in pitching, 160.833 points, so just 1 point under Seattle. And then Pittsburgh rounds out the top 5, 157.667. St. Louis is still your point per game on the year leader at 4.14, but Minnesota knocking on the door at 4.13. Texas jumps up into the 3 spot, jumps up. I guess I don't remember last week's, but I feel like he jumped up at 4.1. And then Pittsburgh down at 4.02 points at number 4, and Kansas City, the 5 spot, 3.98. So I think it's Toronto getting knocked out of the top 5 for Kansas City. I think Toronto is either at 6 or 7. It might be San Francisco at 6, Toronto at 7. Can't remember. Hitting on the year, Minnesota at 1334 takes over the top spot from St. Louis, who is at 1319, and that was not entirely on the back of just beating him this week, but yeah, Minnesota takes over the top spot. The Dodgers in at number 3, kind of ho-hum, 1306, don't even have Tatis, whatever. Chicago, number 4, 1265, and Milwaukee still in the top 5 at 1208. Just need a little bit of pitching. Had a good week. Need a little bit of pitching to make that like real run in that tough division. Pitching on the year, St. Louis, 1181.167, and then Pittsburgh at 1169. So like I said, Josh, you need some pitching, or Frank, you need some pitching. That's what it's going to take to compete with your fellow NL Central mates, 1181 and 1169. Oakland at number 3, 1131. Minnesota, number 4, 1108.5. And the White Sox still in the top 5 at 1,060.833 pitching points. So despite the recent moves and the recent dump, the White Sox did have enough of a pitching lead to still maintain a top 5 spot, at least through week 7. What else did I want to? Oh, the power rankings. Yeah, there were some interesting big jumps in the power rankings. The Texas Rangers, again, just everywhere you look, the Rangers had a great week one way or another. Jump up 10 spots to the number 6 spot. The Guardians, there it is. I call them the Guardians because it's right in front of my face. The Clevelands jump up 10 spots to a top 10 spot. They're at number 9. Other big risers, the O's jump up 4. The Mariners jump up 3. The Padres fall 5. The Tigers and the Astros fall 5. And the Yankees fall 4. So the 0-3 week for the Yankees burned them in the power rankings quite a bit. The bottom half still kind of looks like what it did. The Braves jump up 3 spots to try to get out of the red there, to get out of the bottom third. The Sox drop down 2 to get firmly in the red. The Reds dropped down 2, and then the rest of us from 25 to 30, all stationary. The Sox, the Rockies, the Marlins, the Angels, the Mets, and the Nats. Man, the Nats. Ouch. Tom is back though. It was nice to see Tom pop his head in on the Discord. Good to see him back. Good to see he's. I guess I don't know if he said he was doing well, but he's doing well enough to check in. So, good to see him around again. And the Nats immediately kind of made a move or two. So, don't know if that's mostly just Tom coming in and doing it, or Tom's back and him and the J-Man are working together a little bit. But either way, good to see Tom back. Good to see the Nats making some moves. Not great to see them sitting on the bottom of the power rankings, but somebody's got to be last. Your top teams, really no surprise: the Twins, the Pirates, the Cardinals, and then we've got the A's and the Dodgers flip-flopped from last week. The Rangers at 6, the Giants at 7, the D-backs dropped 2, but are still a top 10 team at number 8. Then the Clevelands and the Cubs rounding out the top 10, and then Seattle at 11, trying desperately to crack into the green, crack into the top 10. Do better. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know you went 3-0 and we're top 5 hitting and pitching, but the teams you played weren't that great. And I guess I didn't look at who you played, man, but Sam was right. You have a couple of bad weeks. They drag down the good week, but you keep going 3-0 and you keep showing up in the top hitting and pitching. I think you're probably going to see yourself in the green before too long. And I think that's about all I had to. Maybe there was some trades. Maybe we could go over some trades. We want to go over some of the more. I feel like there was definitely some trades since the last one. We had like the what I kept referring to as the Gettysburg trade day, where two guys kind of bumped heads in the on the block and ABL chat, and then before you knew it, everybody was sending reinforcements in, and we had deals flying all over the place. I don't think that that's quite true about Gettysburg. That some guys were just in town looking for some shoes, and bada bang, pretty soon there's a big. I don't think that's actually true. It wasn't a planned battle, but it didn't happen from just like the kind of happenstance that I think most myth and lore says that it did, where like some Confederate, like a group of 4 of them or whatever, we're just looking for some shoes and to steal a pot roast or whatever, and then before you know it, there's 80,000 guys fighting. I mean, it was a giant battle and all that, and it did kind of happen by accident, but I don't think it happened by accident the way that I don't even know if most people think that. I have no idea, I guess, what most people think about Gettysburg, but that's what it felt like to me. Was how a couple of days ago the trade started really spilling through, and I guess did it happen with this one, the DeGrom deal? I'm pretty sure I never discussed the DeGrom deal on the pod yet, but we'll start with the 26th. Looks like that was a big day. So let's start here, where the Phillies send Sandy Alcantara and Lourdes Gurriel. So a couple of names. Man, I don't get the deal with Lourdes. It's nice to see that he's got first eligibility now, but he's a guy that, especially last year, the Rockies, I was waiting for him to kind of show what we know he can do and do it for like an extended amount of time. And he just doesn't seem to want to put it together. But of course, the potential is there. But the Phillies send Alcantara and Lourdes to the Clevelands for Owen Miller, a round 3 in 2024, Drew Steckenrider, who then immediately got sent down, but he was not the jewel of the deal for the Phillies here. It would probably be Zach Veen, Colorado prospect extraordinaire, plays all 3 outfield spots, and Sal Frelick is not a slouch either. But the Phillies, it's an interesting move to me. I think he has the division pretty well in hand. It's very early. I don't. All of the trades, especially me being the first dumping team and stuff, I've kind of looked at some things that guys have said, specifically Steven, who has mentioned, multiple times that there's still like 4 months of baseball left, and it makes me wonder, did I dump too soon? I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent while I'm looking at the trades here, but I do wonder, and I don't want to like poll the league or anything, but if we were polling like outside observers, or if I was really able to like take an unbiased outside observer look, I doubt I can, but would they look at my specific position, the injuries I had in the first month, my first week, Ryu and Gray and Eflin all go down, and I start 0-13, and I'm looking at the Dodgers ahead of me, I'm looking at the Giants ahead of me, and at that time the Padres hadn't had the couple bad weeks that they had. They were looking really good. I'm looking at the D-backs ahead of me, and then I'm looking at the rest of the National League, when it comes to even trying to catch a wild card. And when it came contract time, this was the reason that I gave a lot of guys the 1-year deal, that maybe it would look more attractive if it came time that I had to dump. And it came way quicker than I thought it would. Of course, I didn't expect all these guys to. So not only do all those guys get hurt, Ryu, Eflin, the other one who I can't even remember the other one now off the top of my head, Sonny Gray, but Barrios and Marco had just started off shitty. Barrios threw me 2 negatives in like 4 or 5 starts. It's just, even when they were healthy, they weren't helping me get wins. I started 0-13. I just felt like I was looking at too much of a hill to climb. But then it comes down to, I could have just held on to those guys and traded them later when maybe somebody was more desperate and willing to pay more. But I don't know if, with contracts and everything, I don't know if I like the deals I got. I don't regret any of the deals I made. I'm very happy getting George Valera for Barrios. These guys are true rentals. I don't know how much people seem very averse to giving players that are on good contracts, like these nice cheap contracts, because now a lot of these guys have seen 2 times around now what these auctions look like, and the ones that haven't seen it twice are smart enough to know. These new guys, Josh, Zach, Steve, these guys aren't dopes. I don't know. I don't know if could I have gotten better for my guys, for Barrios, for Sonny Gray, for the guys that I dealt. Could I have? I don't know. Maybe I could, but I also run the risk of, I know I've said it before, these guys get hurt, I get nothing for them. But it's been nagging at me a little bit. Yeah, could I have waited? When I see these guys now have a good week all at the same time somewhere else, when Javier has a great week for Sam, and Barrios has a good week for Steve, and Marco has a good week, and then Sonny Gray has a good week, I look at my team and it's like, damn, maybe I could have competed. But at the same time, I wouldn't be running the team out there that I'm running out there now that I think could compete with those pitchers. Like, sure, the offense I have now maybe could compete if I had all those pitchers back, but then I wouldn't have the same offense. I wouldn't have, Manuel Margot and Iglesias filling in at second short, and injured Dan Vogelbach or whatever. I don't know. It's one of these things where I'm tearing my own head apart trying to figure out if I dumped these guys at the right time, or could I have waited and done better. If I waited, would I have done worse? If I waited, could my team have made a miraculous turnaround? I don't know. Some of these guys, I feel like I'm waiting forever and ever for them to turn it around, and guys like Joey Gallo, they're just not turning it around. You can only wait so long. Tony, how's it going, man? You in your new house yet? I'm lamenting the trades I made, kind of figuring out, wrestling with myself. Did I dump too early? Could I have done better for myself had I waited? And not that I dislike any of the deals I made, but I just wonder. All these other teams this Wednesday. Damn, couple days. Oh yeah, it's a holiday and shit. Yeah, I bet kind of things are messed up this weekend. Yeah, and I don't have an answer. I don't have an easy answer. it'll take a while to find out, especially because some of the deals I made for prospects, it might take years to find out if I made the right move or not. For teams like the Orioles and Sam and these guys that I dealt these players to, the Sonny Grays and the Javiers and if it helps them, Barrios, if it helps Steve get to the playoffs, if it helps Steve win a title or win the division, whatever, I'm sure it was worth it for them. Flags fly forever. You always get to hang your hat on that. So I don't know. I kind of that's my deviation from myself. We'll get back to the Gettysburg. I don't want to make it all about myself. So later on this same day, a few hours goes by after the Phillies and Cleveland deal, and we have the Nats trading Brandon Drury and Gavin Sheets to the Rangers for the injured but still full of potential Carter Kaboom. JJ Bleday, another guy, of course, full of potential, not injured, and then he drops Kevin Pillar. So Sam gets some positional versatility, especially in Drury with the first, second, third. May very well be the Cincinnati Reds All-Star this year. And Gavin Sheets plays first and right, so picks up the positional flexibility and can add to the games played number week after week, assuming health, of course. And about 40 minutes later, 20 minutes later, about 23, 24 minutes later, the O's trade Sixto Sanchez to the Mariners. So the Mariners are the team that wants to take the Sixto gamble and does so by sending Jesus Aguilar and the Seattle round 2 in 2024 to Baltimore. So Steven had said that, I don't think he's totally out on Sixto. He knows about the talent, but looking at his team right now, felt like if he could get a piece to help him now, was going to go ahead and do that and picked up a later draft pick. So I kind of like the deal for both. The O's get an everyday bat, and the Mariners get a not as expensive as he was in year one. What is he, like 15? Yeah, he's $15. He was like 30 in year one. So if he comes back and looks like he's going to be anything, Seth can extend him. He's in year one of a deal. If not, he can drop him with no penalty. So it's a risk Seth was willing to take. That's cool. And then 3 minutes later, so Seth was busy on Thursday at about 2 o'clock. This is probably 2 o'clock my time, but Seth was busy talking to Tony at the same time. He's talking to Steve, he's talking to Tony, and these guys make a big one. The Marlins send Josh Winder, Max Fried, Dakota Hudson, Michael Chavis, and Steven Strasburg, who just threw 5 no-hit innings in the minors, I think, last night, to Seattle. So Seth taking on some more risk, taking on some more injured guys, but guys that could potentially help him this year in a big way. And Seth gives up Ryan Yarbrough, a nice spark, a 2025 round 1, a 2023 round 1, a 2024 round 1, Evan Longoria, and Hunter Bishop all going to the Marlins. So Tony starting to stack up the farm system, starting to stack up the draft pick list that he has going on, and nabbing 3 firsts. I think this is good. Obviously a couple of these firsts are a couple years and a few years away, so we're not going to know how this works out. And let's be honest here, guys. We know Tony. Is he going to hang on to these picks to make these picks in 2-3 years? Come on, there's no way. There's almost no way. But let's just say he does. It's still going to be many years before we see this as if this is a winning deal overall for the Marlins. Now for Seattle, Strass could help him this year. Josh Winder, I guess, could maybe help him this year. Max Fried is going to help him this year. Dakota Hudson should probably help him this year. It's a mortgage some long-term, quite a bit of long-term value potentially for trying to win now. And Seth has made no bones since the beginning of last year that he was trying to win last year. He's trying to win this year. So that kind of just follows Seth's MO. He's not afraid to deal picks. He's not afraid to deal prospects. Hunter Bishop, pretty solid power bats, I believe, in the Giants system, more highly regarded than Helio Ramos. I don't know if I would be out of line to say that. I think that's probably true. And Longo has actually been hitting. He feels like he's a million years old. What is he, 35, 36? 36. But he's actually came back from the IL and started hitting a little bit, hit some dongs. So there's that move. The Marlins then make another one with my Rockies. I sent $4 to the Marlins for Andre Palante, the Cardinals reliever who has pitched worse than his ERA indicates, but he is a spark. He does throw really hard. I'm kind of hoping, I don't know, will he be worth it? Or no, I won't have to. So he debuted this year. He has a first next to his name, but he should be a 20. I think he should be a 2050 guy. He debuted this year. So I shouldn't have to make an extension call on him. But will he be worth it for me to keep for $5 or $4 next year? That remains to be seen. But he helped me to maintain a legal roster after I realized that I had like, who the hell was it? Dare Morita. He got sent down, and then I had a green flag in an SPRP spot. So Palante also helps me stay legal. Pretty minor deal though, for me and Tony. And then the San Francisco Giants make a pretty significant splash. I don't know if it got really talked about a ton, but the Giants have acquired, and we'll get to the other one. Let's just stick chronological here. They send a 2023 round 1 pick, which belonged to the Cincinnati Reds. So Cleveland Mark hoping that the Reds suck the rest of the year, and that ends up being a higher pick. And Tyler Naquin, who can play all 3 outfield spots and is an everyday guy, but gets back Ronald Acuna Jr. and $2 fab. So the Giants, Josh had said on the Discord, I have money. I can take on money. I can take on a bad contract, a perceived bad contract, whatever it might be. Come and hit me up. And sure enough, I don't think it took long after that Josh had acquired Acuna and Jacob deGrom. So we'll get to that one in a bit here. Tony, busy within, let's see, when did he make his first deal? 204. He made one with me at 208. Makes another at 249. And this May 26th, Tony likes to say it was kicked off by him. I guess in a sense, but really the one on the 26th, it was really Cleveland and Philadelphia. It was really the guy that never, ever trades. It was Adam that kind of kicked it off. He made that deal, and then everybody started looking around. Man, even Adam's making trades. What the hell is going on? And then, of course, the Marlins make like 3 or 4. But if you want to get technical, the first 2 guys to stumble into Gettysburg were Philly Adam and Cleveland Mark. Not probably a match that you would ever think is going to lead to a dozen other trades being made that day. But here we go, 9:34 in the morning, May 26th, the Thursday, the start of Gettysburg. Bam, these 2 guys bump into each other, and then the dominoes start dropping. Look at all these deals afterwards. We're still on the 26th. So we just did Acuna. The Marlins trade Shane Bieber to the Guardians. So Mark gets rid of Acuna, brings in Shane Bieber. And to do that, he deals a 2024 round 2, the Marlins own round 2. Tony gets it back. And then some pretty significant prospect capital. Gunnar Hoglund, who, despite having had TJ, is still seen by many as a high-end pitching prospect. Tyler Soderstrom, the heir apparent to the catching spot, maybe the future DH or first base spot in Oakland, but he's all bat. Wes Kath, a young, but I think he's a power bat. Maybe the hit tool could have some issues, but I think he's a big power guy. So some legit prospect capital going back to the Marlins. As we said, Tony stocking up that minor system, stocking up that draft pick pool. And what do we have here? About 45 minutes later, the Orioles send Helio Ramos and Mick Abel to the Nats for Seiya Suzuki. So Tom, I think this was a Tom deal. I think this is like right after Tom showed up and said, hey, I'm ready to roll. The Nats are ready to roll. Immediately deals Seiya Suzuki, maybe your NL Rookie of the Year, plays all 3 outfield spots. The O's are going for it this year, picks up a guy that is averaging, is he over 3? He's averaging 3.15 points per game, plays all 3 outfield spots. Pretty nice deal for both sides. The Nats get a couple of pretty well-regarded prospects. I was a Helio Ramos owner. I'm the one that sent him to Baltimore in the first place, and now Baltimore uses him to compete this year. It's great to see trades work out for guys. I mean, even if Ramos doesn't come up and contribute to the Giants for the O's, he gets to use him in a piece to make a run this year. So, yeah, I just like seeing that. The Phillies then make another one on the same day. Adam, he becomes trading Adam. He gets one shot off at Gettysburg and decides to come back for another. He gets talking with the Nats, and so the Nats make a deal at 336, make another one 339. The Nats send Mickey Moniak, former first rounder, I believe, for the Phillies, sends him to the ABL Phillies for a 2023 round 3 that originally belongs to the Dodgers, so probably going to be a pretty late third round pick. So, yeah, I like that. It's fine for both sides, We're not done yet, though. We're still May 26th, a couple hours later, after announcing a couple of times that Kyle Wright was available. He gets dealt. Why am I blanking on the Royals? Brendan. Why am I blanking on the Royals owner's name? Brendan deals Kyle Wright to Sam's Rangers for Garrett Cooper, who plays first and right field, Josh Donaldson, who I believe was not yet on the IL, and Jorge Lopez, who has been weirdly valuable. He's a sparp, and he's only $3, and he's fallen into some saves for the O's. He's fallen into some wins for the O's. He's a 100-point pitcher, actually. Kind of under the radar, weirdly valuable has been Jorge Lopez on a bad team, but he's kind of, for whatever reason, he's in there when it matters. He's in there for W's. He's in there for saves. So the Royals trying to shore up the team, doing a 3-for-1, and the Rangers, betting big on Kyle Wright being I don't know that I personally believe he's an 18-point per game pitcher, but I think he could probably easily settle in as a 14 to 16-point guy. He's probably got some regression coming, but at only $6, I guess the price doesn't matter because he's a 22 contract, but Texas is a team that's clearly going for it now. And then later the same night, we're still on the 26th. We're still on the first day of Gettysburg, as we all know. All of us Civil War buffs know Gettysburg was a multi-day battle. Sorry, Tony. He didn't wait the period where I had to wait. Yeah, since you don't. Yeah, Tony had to wait the 24. But we all, of course, know that Gettysburg lasted more than one day. So, yeah, this was just the start. But here we have some, guys firing off a salvo to finish off. The Nats come back for more. They deal Jacob Junis to the Mariners, who always seem to be looking for pitching for whatever reason. And the Nats, Jake Junis has been pretty good since joining the Giants, actually, and he is SPARP eligible. Love those SPARP guys. And Austin Shenton, Tampa Bay third base prospect, going back to the Nats. So the Nats still trying to fine-tool that farm system, get them on track for competition. And then we open the very next morning. The day 2 of Gettysburg opens with a lot of players, not a massive deal, but a lot of players involved. The Marlins and Randall Grichuk and Jackie Bradley Jr. with a lot of both of those guys with a lot of positional eligibility between the two of them, at least in the outfield, to the Cubs for a mixture of Jags, really, if we want to be honest. They're Jags. DeMarie just got sent down for Michael Bush. You got some relievers, Sam Hentges, Luis Torrens, who some guys had as hoping to be better than he has been this year as a catcher for the M's. I was one of those, not in this league, but in some other leagues. Travis DeMarie, I already said, and a round 4 in 2023 that originally belonged to the White Sox, Chase DeYoung, a SPARP, and $3 fab. So the Marlins, and they were serious when they said, I want to have a whole new roster going into next year. They ain't messing around. And then we had a relative lull in the fighting for a lot of Friday, and then it pops off a little bit with an unexpectedly big deal here. The Reds send J.D. Martinez, man, and a red-hot J.D. Martinez, I might add. He's averaging 4.1 3. Now at the time he was still hot on the 27th. That was only 3 days ago. And $7 fab to the Giants. So the Giants grab Ronald Acuna, and the Giants a day later grab JD Martinez. And he sends Tyler Glasnow to the Reds, which was at first for me, a little bit of a head scratcher. And then we will see that the Reds do end up flipping Glasnow, for a decent return. So, but man, I don't want to like critique other guys' trades too much, but man, I feel if Lenny, it's easy to second guess other guys, especially, but it's like, man, I feel like if I had a bat that was averaging 4.1 points and I just said, hey, he's available and waited for the offers to roll in, but not everybody is that kind of guy. If Lenny wanted Glasnow and he saw this opportunity to get him, then take it. I just wonder, man, what kind of action JD Martinez would have brought and man, please correct me if I'm wrong. If Lenny did announce that, hey, I'm trading JD Martinez, I apologize, but I just felt like it kind of came out of nowhere. Breaking news: Tony says Bobby Bradley is gone, so somebody took on the Bobby Bradley contract. I will refresh when I get to the top here, but we're still on day 2 at Gettysburg. That was a big sell. It's like a big unexpected fight right after the soldiers have dinner at 5:32 p.m. This big fight breaks out all of a sudden. This big deal goes down. And then later that same night, a few hours later, the Tigers and the Marlins make a catcher and draft pick swap. The Marlins send Danny Jansen and a 2023 round 3 that originally belonged to the Padres to the Tigers for the catcher of the Rockies, Elias Diaz, and a 2023 round 2 that originally belonged to the Mariners. So a nice little, you take my catcher and a pick, I take your catcher and a pick. And then late at night of the 27th, we have one more little, not really little. The Braves send Mike Soroka, who, we've seen, it feels like forever since we've seen what he can do because he's had this damn Achilles, but he probably makes it back this year, barring another setback. But that's what we've been saying about Mike Soroka, I feel like, for a while. The Braves sent him to the Nats for David Bednar, who, not anybody in this league, but like for the general scrote public, is like one of the best relievers you've never heard of. It's like only it seems to be a matter of time before Pittsburgh has to deal him away. Like he gives them no choice but to deal him for a big return to like, the Yankees or somebody where he can match up with Clay Holmes, former Pirate Clay Holmes. Pretty big. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal there. The Braves kind of giving up on Soroka. He is a good price, if I recall. He is, he's in first year $9. So if he does come back and look good, he's only 24 years old. The Nats could easily extend him, and they could have a guy for multiple years. So I like this deal for both sides. The Braves seeing that the NL East, at least second, at the very least second place in the NL East is definitely doable. And he gained a couple games or a game and a half on the Phillies just this week. So I like seeing the Braves go for it. And then very early morning, day 3 of Gettysburg. Yeah, the 28th was another day. So yeah, this was like the 3-day Gettysburg of trades is what I'm going to continue calling this until it catches on and everybody agrees that it's cool to call it that. The Marlins sent Sir Anthony Dominguez, who he originally got from me, to the O's for $1 fab and a 2024 round 2 that was originally the Mariners. So Steven and the O's continue to gear up and had a great week, with the Yanks going 0-3 and Baltimore going 3-0. Great week for Steven. The Cubs and the Marlins then have another one. They've had many deals together over the first year and a half of this league. Christian Bettencourt, catcher first eligible, and $1 fab for the recently acquired Elias Diaz. So Tony just can't decide what catcher he wants to have on the Marlins. The first is Danny Jansen, and then it's Elias Diaz for like a day, and then it's Christian Bettencourt. The Marlins then trade Ryan Holgate, a Cardinal prospect, to the Rangers for round 5. He then trades Taylor Dollard, a Seattle minor leaguer, to the Dodgers for round 4 in 2024. The Angels and O's the Angels, then Cal makes a dump proclamation. And trades Alex Fado, the starting pitcher for Detroit, to the O's for Domingo Acevedo in a round 2 in 2024 that was the O's. So again, Baltimore just grabbing another arm for the arms race. The Angels then trade. Now this is where if Lenny had just traded JD Martinez and 7 Fab for Glasnow. Now I have no idea if this was like planned. I have no idea if he was planning on trading Glasnow to the Angels. I have no idea, but I love this return for Glasnow. Lenny trades what's he like $24? I want to say $24, and in the first year of his contract, Tyler Glasnow. Now, of course, he had elbow surgery. So it'll be up to Cal if he wants to extend Glasnow. Everybody knows what Glasnow can do when he's healthy. So it puts a decision into Cal's hands. Do I want to re-sign this ace, for $26? But it gets a very nice outfielder and a 2023 round 1 put into Lenny's hands. And Benintendi's only at 2.8 points per game. But as a guy that owns him in a couple roto leagues, and he must just hit a lot of singles or something, because I feel like he's always on base. Like he's doing a little bit of everything lately. Like he's not blowing the doors off. He doesn't have a ton of homers, ton of steals, or anything like that. But Benintendi is solid. I like Andrew Benintendi. He's hit 327. He's OBP in 398, which maybe he's got some regression coming. Only 2 homers, but 6 doubles, 2 triples. 20 walks to 27 strikeouts. I like Benintendi a lot. So Lenny saves a bunch of money. A bunch. Benintendi is $17. So how much was JD Martinez? How much was JD? Yeah, JD's 31. So yeah, Lenny saves himself a significant chunk of money. Still gets a good outfield return. Gets a round 1. So yeah, the flip of Glasnow, and I told him this privately. I love that flip of Glasnow, man. I really did. I love it. Not to say I dislike it for Cal. I like the decision that Cal gives himself of being able to sign a potential ace at a really good price compared to the other aces in this league. I think it's a good deal for both of them. And then about 6 minutes later, so that was at 8:20, 8:26. 6 minutes later, Cal makes another one. He sends Bo Bichette and Miguel Castro to the Cubs for Randall Grichuk, Tommy Romero, and Jonah Heim, the catcher for Texas. And then Randall Grichuk, who's had a pretty good year, plays center, plays right. And I think he's somewhat moderately. Yeah, he's like $14, and he can be extended if Cal wants to extend him. So Cal is like bringing in the guys that he can potentially, if he chooses to, look forward to being a nucleus of his team next year. He then trades Yandy Diaz to the Twins for Jose Leclerc, who has been a very good reliever when healthy. Had Tommy John in March of 2021. So it's going to be a minute till he's back. But, Cal gets another guy coming off TJ on a cheap contract that he could potentially extend if he wants to. And then to finish off the night of the 28th, 9 o'clock at night, the Tigers and the Twins make a monster. The Tigers send a lot of prospect action. Daniel Montesino, Henry Mendez, a round 5 pick. He sends Rhys Hoskins, DJ LeMahieu, Chris Flexen, Josiah Gray, prospect catcher Paul McIntosh, and $5. No, not $5 Fab. Sorry, and catcher Paul McIntosh to the Twins for $5 Fab. Nathaniel Lau, a round 2 in 2023. That's the Twins pick, so it's going to be later. Pretty high-ish end. Rays second base prospect Curtis Mead, Ryan Stanek, Mike Ford, and then really the meat of the prospects, Pete Crow Armstrong, Shea Langoliers. Depending on who you go with, those guys are both top 100. PCA is probably top 40 on a lot of lists. Very nice prospect capital that Detroit gets back. And Minnesota gets some positional flexibility with DJ, plays first, second, third, get a couple more arms. Reliable arms, innings-eating arms, and Chris Flexen and Josiah Gray gets Rhys Hoskins. Clearly, the Twins are going for it, and as I said, it feels like way earlier in this. It feels like I'm really stretching this one out. A lot of trades to go through, man. Like you guys killed me with the Gettysburg of trades. So yeah, Detroit makes kind of a dumpy move, but gets serious prospect capital back. Gets a round 2 back, but Curtis Mead, and Nathaniel Lau is. He's $11, at 2.5 points per game. contracted through 2024. Yeah, he could be a piece of that team in the future as well. But I really like the deal for both sides. Clearly, it helped the Twins go for it. They crushed in hitting in Week 7. Even though this deal was just made 2 days ago, it still helped them a little bit, I'm sure. But it was a huge deal. Liked it for both sides. And then the morning of the 29th, early morning, 6:32 in the morning, we get another big one. The Angels sent Walker Buehler to the Jays for a round 3 and a round 5 in 2023. Oh, no, a round 3, a round 5, a round 2, and a round 4, all in 2023, and Anthony Garcia. So the Angels stocking up on some picks. The Jays trying to load up on a big arm. But, man, Buehler's a big arm. He's also a big contract. He signed through 2024, and he's at $52 this year. So might cause the Jays to do some shuffling in the future. That is a big contract to take on. And then some more minor-ish deals compared to what we've been seeing. Ramon Urias goes from the Twins to the Reds for Kyle Nicholas and Joe Perez, a couple minor leaguers. Myself and Cleveland Mark get a deal done. Jalen Beeks and Drew Smith going to Cleveland for Bruce Zimmerman and Matt Barnes, both a couple of guys that are only contracted for this year. But I wanted to still try to run a legitimate team out for this year. But anybody interested in Bruce Zimmerman, come and see me. Sorry to mark that Drew Smith diagnosed with a dislocated pinky, so maybe not as bad as like a broken throwing finger. It was his right, but pinky's not really a pitching finger. Still probably going to make him miss some time, but maybe it wouldn't be as bad as like a broken finger because, man, we've seen guys, Michael Pineda, with a broken finger that just seemed to lag forever. And then just a couple more to get to here. The Tigers make another one. They send Colton Wong, Zach Greinke, Avasale, the disappointment, Garcia. Horribly disappointing for me in multiple leagues. And $4 fab to the Cardinals for recently acquired Landon Knack. James Wood, young but big-time Padre prospect, and new to the minors, Matt Carpenter with the terrible mustache. So, yeah, Cardinals, clearly playing for now. They even getting rid of Wood and Knack still have some really nice prospects. And the Tigers, man, getting Jimmy Wood, getting Landon Knack, getting the prospects from the Twins, looking really good for the future is Detroit. And then just today, while I was doing this pod about 20 minutes ago, the Mariners are going to take on Bobby Bradley's, I don't want to call it an albatross because it's not super expensive, but he is signed through 2026. So the Mariners going to take that on. He's not in the majors right now, and taking on Evan Longoria also. So yeah, get a 3-point per game third baseman, and only have to do it for $1 fab, but going to take that contract away from Tony so he doesn't have to cut Bradley and pay all of the penalties himself. So yeah, I want to say good job on getting rid of Bobby Bradley for Tony, and Seth very clearly still trying to compete this year, acquiring pieces that he thinks and hopes is going to help him do that. Boy, this is 53 minutes. I don't think I've ever done a week one that lasted almost an hour, but man, that's just a lot of trade action that happened in a very, very short amount of time. You could call it like the if you don't like Gettysburg, didn't kind of like Midway or the Coral Sea or one of those naval battles kind of happened that way as well, where the fleets kind of almost accidentally ran into each other. I'm a little sketchy on my W-2 naval history, but if you know like Gettysburg, we can go with one of those. But man, it just kind of exploded, and then boom, there's a bunch of giant deals getting thrown around, and I'm sure we're gonna have another one of those. I'm sure it's gonna happen again. But yeah, this one made me go 54 minutes. So that's week 7. That's a bunch of trades, and again, Josh and Adam, hope you guys turn the corner here very soon. Thanks for Tony for watching, and whoever else watches, whoever goes to the end of this thing, and we'll see you guys. We're gonna do one with a couple of guests soon. I think it's been a while since I've had some guys on, so I think we're gonna do one here pretty soon with somebody or somebodies, maybe a special guest. Can we call them special? We'll see. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. This has been week 7.